Good evening. Hello, hello. Welcome back to the channel. This is Every Piece of Me Matters, and I am your host, Cindy Holden. I am glad that you are here this evening. I'm glad to be back. It's been a while, I know, since our last episode. I don't even know where I'm going tonight, but what I do know is I needed to show up. I've been called to do exactly what I've been doing here for the past several months. And although I'm in transition, I know that it was time for me to show up. So I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad to be here. And let's dive in tonight. I don't know if it's going to be a thought, a word, or phrase, or something. But what I do know is every piece of me matters. And I want to encourage you by telling you that every piece of you matters too. Not just because I said so, but because the pieces of you were fearfully and wonderfully created. And so as we learn to embrace, right? Because that's what this channel was about. It's for women who are ready to embrace every part, every piece of themselves in a way that is healthy and wholesome, and it brings healing. The parts that we know, and even the parts that we're still learning about. One thing I have come to know, if I can just be aware, right, then I know that healing is possible. Aware of what? Aware of me, who I am, what I do. I like to say it in this way, all my little quirks, the right, the wrong, the weak or strong. I keep coming to the place where I'm able to embrace every part of me. And so on tonight, just going to be transparent. I'm in a place of transition. And so in this place of transition, let's just say there's been a lot going on for the past month. Gathering things together, transitioning to another location, and doing some different things. And so visiting family has been a part of that, a little bit of caretaking. So I've been on the go. I have been on the go, and I really have a lot to say. It's a matter of when do I say it and putting it all together. So right here, right now, tonight is where I start. And so perhaps some of you are in transition too. You know how we do it around here, right? So before I dive in a little deeper, I want to ask you to do something with me. As I have unwound from my day to day, I've taken quite a few breaths already, and so perhaps I'm a little bit ahead of you, but if you will, just take a moment and take a breath with me. No special way to do it. I will count to 3 to give you the opportunity so that we can perhaps do it together, right? But if you want to inhale, exhale, or however you want to do it, through your nose, out your mouth, count to 3, 7 in, 8 out. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. I just want to invite you to take one with me. So you ready? 1, 2, 3. It's just something about being intentional with taking that breath, right? We breathe. God has given us breath in our lungs. We breathe. I know I do. I'll speak from the I perspective. And a lot of times I'm not even mindful that I'm breathing. I take it for granted. It's something that happens automatically. But pausing, taking a moment to breathe and be aware or intentional in taking that breath. It's just something about it that, for me, it is very grounding. It's like I don't know, I'm just expanding, my energy in some way. And so thank you for doing that with me. Tonight, I guess I'm going to talk about transition. hmm Um, of course, in the work that I do and helping people to help themselves, there's a lot of discussion about transition, transformation. People talk about, different situations, emotions and feelings that they're going through. And so I want to give a definition for transition. Now, as I typically do, I look through the definitions and I kind of pull out the ones that speak to me, the ones that I resonate with. So there are several definitions for transition, but this is what I chose. And so this is from, let's see, I looked at Merriam-Webster first. Is that this one? Actually, this is from the Oxford, right, dictionary. And so it says transition is a change or shift. I love that word, a change or shift from one state, right? That can be literally a state, from one state to another, or it can be like a state of being, a mental state, if you will, emotional state. Also, it can be from one subject to another, from a place. Yeah, so that's literally from one place to another, and etc. And so that word transition is talking about that shift, that change or that shift. And so that's where I am in this time in my life, I should say. I'm in a place of change. There's a lot of change going on. There's been a shift. And so things look somewhat different than what I'm used to, what I'm accustomed to. And in this transition, for me, it's been bringing up all types of feelings and emotions, questions. I've been curious. I've had some time away, some time of solitude to sit, to pause, to sit with myself, to ponder, to reflect as this transition, as this shift is happening in my life. And some of the things that it has brought up for me, I'll say as a caretaker, right? My caretaking tendencies have really come forth. And so as I have been helping to care for others, I've been more mindful of how I'm caring for myself, right? Self-care is really important. And so beyond, this is a part of it too, but beyond the hair did, the nails done, the massage and so forth, the physical part of it, right? That part of the physical. How am I caring for myself emotionally? How am I caring for myself mentally? What am I thinking or saying to myself while I am in this transition? And so, transition, there can be different, let's say, types of transition. One that comes to mind is like a peaceful transition. Sometimes change can bring about different things like fear, anxiety, and stress. And believe you me, I've experienced a little of all. So the stress of that transition from one place to another, the transition of not knowing, the uncertainty, if you will, of how things are going to be or what's going to be this and what's going to be that. I am one of those type of people who like to, figure things out. And so I can say that it's been very peaceful in that I am at peace with myself. I'm at peace with God, I'm at peace with myself. And part of what's bringing about that peace is knowing that God as I trust in Him that He is leading and guiding me along the way. I don't have all the details. No, I can tell you that makes me a little nervous, right? That makes me a little anxious, if you will, because I like to know some stuff. And perhaps you do too. And so, for those of you who are in transition, uh, the message or what I'd like to share with you, I'm just being very transparent on tonight, is this is a space, a safe space, right? Just a reminder, this is a safe space, and the things that we talk about are very therapeutic. And so, although it's therapeutic, it's spiritually grounded, right? Spiritually grounded in my faith. And so, as a person of faith, a believer in Jesus Christ, I have I'm at peace, and I have found ways to ground myself. And my faith is a part of that. And knowing that although I don't have all the answers, all the details, being able to, whether it's through prayer and meditation, it's some of that, through some fasting, getting in a place of solitude. And listen, I'm talking about keeping it simple. Yeah, right. I'm not trying to be so deep, right? I want to keep it simple because in this space of transition, for me, it's like, there's things are like here and there. I'm moving, the trans, right, moving, and then that transition from one place to another. So I've been going to different places, and in the midst of that transition, sometimes it's like I've had very little time in between, and so I'm just picking up the stuff and I'm going, right, and so being grounded spiritually, being grounded in my faith, trusting and knowing that although I don't have the details, I'm connected to the one who does. And when I say I'm connected to the one who does, I'm talking about, again, my faith in God and His Son, Jesus Christ, who leads and guides me along the way. So I want to encourage you. I don't know who or what or how you are spiritually grounded, but I want to encourage you to tap into that part of yourself. Yeah, that's the part I'm talking about tonight. I'm talking about grounding yourself spiritually. So, where there may be feelings of anxiety, stress, or maybe there's some other emotions that surface. And it can be kind of scary, not knowing. And at the same time, caring for others. I want to bring it back to that. Caring for other people. That is something that comes very natural for me. I've always been a good listener and, have a desire and a passion to help other people. And that is really natural, and it's like an easy part for me. I can probably do that with my eyes closed and come up with solutions, for other people and so forth. But one of the things that came up, let me go back to this in conversations this week, is how am I caring for myself? Am I grounding myself? One, yes, I'm grounding myself in my faith. And then the other part is, am I connecting with myself, right? In a way where, yeah, I can see out and help other people to see themselves, but can I see into me? Can I see the parts of myself that there may be a need there, whether it's a physical, emotional, some type of need. Am I connected with myself? Am I in tune with the parts of me that need me in a way? Now, listen, this whole parts thing, don't get weirded out by it, right? Just think about it. Have you ever said to yourself, a part of me wants to do this, and a part of me, in that same context, if you will, there are parts of ourselves that I'll say they vie for our attention, right? And so being able to listen to the parts of myself. When I'm hungry, it's something as simple as this. I'm just giving an example. When I'm hungry, am I so wrapped up in what I'm doing? Whether it's caring for others, work, or something else, right? Am I so wrapped up into that I disregard or ignore, right, that part of myself? Something as simple as feeding, giving myself nutrition or nourishment. It sounds simple. It is simple, but it happens all the time. How many times, again, this is a safe, non judgmental zone, but again, we do reflection. And so, if you will just take a moment and ask yourself, how many times, or how often, or what is the frequency that I find myself I'm living outside of myself? I'm taking care of others, I'm doing for others while I'm neglecting myself. Yeah, that can happen again in day-to-day life, in transition, going from this place to the next place. And so you may not be moving to a different state, or going somewhere that's on unfamiliar ground. Maybe it's just in your day-to-day, right? Going from one place to the other. These different feelings and emotions come up. I want to encourage you, while you're in transition, one, what is it that grounds you? What is it that can bring you that peace and that trust and that confidence that although I don't have all the details, I'm going to stand tall with my toes 10 down, knowing that I'm going to be okay. And even as I care for others, I'm going to make sure that I'm caring for myself too. Two things can happen at one time, but being mindful, it's so much easier to, I say, live outside of myself, to help other people, to point, to other people and help them to see. But can I see into me, the parts of me that are lacking, the parts of me that need me, because they're my responsibility? And so, again, while I'm in transition, it's been about a month now, during my time away since you last seen me, that all these different things are happening. But I can say that I'm at peace. And as I am helping to care for others in my day-to-day, I am very mindful to care for myself. Time of isolation, right? Let me reframe that. So it's been a time of solitude. Isolation, more so to me, is, withdrawing myself from others, right? Just because I don't want to be around them, or, there's other motivations. But when I think of solitude, it's definitely intentional, and it's a place of silence, if you will, a place of peace, a place of reflection and grounding and prayer and meditation. And so the intent and the motivation is very different for me. So in that place of solitude, which is where I give myself permission to go, I get grounded. My faith helps to ground me through the scriptures. My trust and know that God has provided, and He has already gone ahead of me. And so, although I don't have all the details, moment by moment, I can be present with myself. I can be present in this very moment. And so, as I sit here tonight, I am very mindful that while I'm in transition, and I hope that this can be helpful to you too, while you are in transition, you're moving from one place to another, one state, whether it's a state of being, emotion, while you're in transition, while that shift is happening. It doesn't have to be negative, right? Sometimes we think, when change happens, it can be very unearthing, in a way of, oh my God, what's it gonna be? That happens too. But change and shift, transition, it can be peaceful, it can be positive, and we can experience power, and we can be present, not only with ourselves first, right? But we can be present with others moment by moment, so that the stress, right? Sometimes stress is always present. It happens in different ways. Stress isn't necessarily a negative thing. It's how we respond to it. It's our reaction to it. But we can experience peace in the midst of the transition. So the word, I would say, in wrapping it up, in the summarizing, some takeaways perhaps for those of you who find yourselves in transition, or maybe you know someone who's in transition and this might help them. You can care for yourself. You can ground yourself, whether it's through your faith, right? Your operating system, what you believe in, what leads and who leads and guides you. You can ground yourself in your faith through prayer and meditation, in that place of solitude, with reflection, and giving yourself permission, right, to check in with yourself. What am I feeling? Taking care of me. What am I feeling? What do I need? What part needs my attention? Is it as simple as getting something to eat, getting hydrated, taking my medication? And so in the midst of the transition, not only will you be at peace, not only will you experience power, not only will you be present with yourself first and with others, but you will move forward knowing that you are in a safe place, and that every part of you is being embraced to the point where there's healing and wholeness that is flowing through your very body, through your mind, and through your spirit. So I think this is a good place to leave it for tonight. I want to ask you, what came up for you as you heard the topic of transition? What came up for you? Did you notice any resistance? Maybe some emotions came up, fear, anger, or something else. Or maybe it touched on a part of you that's really been asking the question. There's so much going on outside of me, perhaps in the world, right? The economy, all the things that we know. But there's a lot going on inside of me. Perhaps you became more aware of that on tonight. Whatever came up, know that it matters. It matters, and it needs your attention. And so spend some time in reflection, create the space, ground yourself spiritually. If you are, you see a therapist, perhaps you can have this conversation in therapy. Or you can get into some of the self-help readings, or just have a conversation with another sister or a friend. So that's our time together for tonight. I am your host, Cindy Holden. I'm back, and I look forward to seeing you again right here at Every Piece of Me Matters. I'll see you next week. Good night.